back to Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy on Fox Sports Radio 92.7. Well, Roy,
Well, Rosco,
come full circle.
yes, we have.
We are moved over from our old setting over here. We're sitting at a table. We've got our very first guest
That's right.
that was on the show, and he's come back.
He's back. He's the big deal, Logan Hancock.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
We're good, buddy. Hey, man, we appreciate you driving over from Monticello. I know it's a long ride, and we kind of do these things when in an inconvenient time. But we've got you here. Man, what a last couple of years, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good run for me. Been very fortunate.
So just to clear things up a little bit, Logan is the 2015-2017 Wings Over the Prairie Festival World Championships Duck Calling Contest World Champion. That's a mouthful.
That means he's a big deal.
He's a big deal. And he is also the 2016 Big Cypress Open Contest at Memphis at the Big Bass Pro Shop there at the Pyramid.
Is that thing just like the pyramids in Egypt?
It's pretty close. There's tombs underneath it and everything.
Ghost and everything.
Yeah,
You've seen them.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
so, you know, Roy and I have talked for the last 2 years about going to Bass Pro Shop over there. We've talked to Bill Dance, and Bill has given us the rundown on how that came to be.
He even told us he'd give us a tour.
Yeah, you know, a tour by Bill Dance himself.
Absolutely.
And we hadn't made it over there yet.
Yeah.
So we're missing
really
out,
busy.
right?
Y'all are missing out. It's one of the coolest things that you'll ever see. There's full-size cypress trees inside of the pyramid.
Growing. Live trees.
Yeah.
Live alligators.
Live alligators.
Live fish.
Live fish, big fish,
Big
really
big
big.
catfish.
Alligator gar that are 4 foot long.
Wow.
Big old blue cats out of Mississippi, you know, just right next door.
And there's a duck hunting museum.
Yes, the duck hunt. I think it's the Ducks Unlimited Museum. It's
Right
upstairs.
there.
Bunch of old duck hunting memorabilia up there. Really cool stuff.
So I'm guessing with this 2016 Big Cypress Open contest winner, you probably can just mosey on in there anytime and stay at one of the lodges there. And
Pull things off the rack and stick it in your pocket.
yeah,
I could, but I'd be getting a free ride downtown.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you're getting there.
I'm getting there. I'm close.
Things are
I'm
happening.
close.
Because I tell you how I know you're getting there. This is how I know Logan
He's back
Hancock.
on the duck dudes.
One, he's back on the duck dudes. Two, his picture was in the Bass Pro magazine,
That's
the
right.
flyer.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
his picture was there. Tell us a little bit about what was going on there when you had your picture in the paper. They had a bunch going on there. What was going on?
Yeah, so they have this their own festival each year called Flocktoberfest, and it's you know, all things duck related. It's right before season, trying to get people excited. I got big sales on bullets and all kinds of stuff. Well, I did a little demo for kids and adults, whoever wanted to come listen, and gave away free rich tone duck calls like what you guys got. And at first, there was nobody there. It was real sad. But 3 minutes into it, everybody showed up.
Everybody got there.
Yeah. So I had to repeat what I said at the beginning because nobody was there. But anyway, it was good fun. Absolutely, my picture was on the Bass Pro sale catalog thing.
That's
really cool. I had a whole bunch of people posting on Facebook, sending me, hey, I need
Yeah, how
this
many of
sign.
those did you autograph?
Both of them.
All two of them?
Yeah. One for my wife and another for another friend. But they had them posted all over the store, you know, just on these little racks. And so every one of them, my wife and I walked past, I'd say, hey, take a picture. And I'd post up next to it. I mean, it was pretty cool.
So you're not just famous now, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, you walked around Monticello and people get out of your way. I mean, that's how it works.
You got a key to the city, though.
I have a day. I have a Logan Hancock day.
well,
After I won the Worlds the first time, they gave me a day. I don't know if I'll get another one or not. But
Well, maybe this time, here's what I want to know. If you get the key to the city, find the door that key unlocks and let me know. Because I've always wanted to know exactly what that key opened.
Okay.
Because, you know, I see people getting keys to the cities all the time. They're these really big keys, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, that's got to be a big door and there's got to be some good stuff behind it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's let's make a deal. Maybe they picked the wrong door,
Might be.
The price is right.
and it may be a donkey behind the door.
It could be a big trick.
Could be.
It could be like that room on Indiana Jones where all the stuff is.
There's full of snakes.
Full of snakes.
Full
yeah.
of snakes. Why's it
bet
always
that-
got to be snakes?
I don't know.
That's what he said. So, man, I tell you what, we really are thrilled to have you back on the show.
Yep, we sure are.
We feel like for us, things are kind of coming full circle, and we're getting out there a little bit, and for sure, we definitely know you are. It's been a ride, man. It has really been a ride for you. I've known you since we were sitting outside Monticello in those little apartments, and you were talking about contest calling and entering the worlds, and I'm thinking, man, I can't even blow a duck call, and this guy's over there, and he is like tearing the face off of it, and you called it, buddy. I mean, you've done it, and now you've done it twice. How many people have done it more than once?
I added them up the other day, and there's 15 people in the history of that contest that have won it more than one time.
And this is not a contest that's been going on for a year or two. I mean, this thing's been around for a while.
Yeah, this was the 82nd annual.
So 82nd annual Wings Over the Prairie World's Duck Calling Contest. 15 people have won it more than once.
Mhm.
And you're one of those 15. That's pretty good company, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the names that are in that are, some of them are very popular names. The John Stevens, the latest one, Brad Allen, he's got his own line of duck calls out now. Those are pretty well-known names. But then some of the more historical people that not a whole lot of people know about that were back in the 50s and 60s, those are pretty good company to keep as well. It's just been really cool to get the second one. The first one, it could have been an accident. All the stars could have aligned, but when you get the second one, and people in the crowd, come up and say, "Hey, you were on a whole nother level than the rest of everybody else." I mean, that makes you feel really good.
Did you blow Butch's call again?
I have had that same duck call since 2014. Same read, same call, and it's won me both Worlds and the Big Cypress Open, and I attribute a lot to that duck call.
So that duck call pretty much now stays under lock and key.
Yeah, I didn't even bring it with me.
Yeah. So last time you did, you came in, you brought a box of duck calls, you had it, and I mean you were careful with it, and you didn't want the kids throwing it around and playing with it or anything. It doesn't even get to travel.
Well, just a little bit here and there. I've actually got a little mini lanyard that fits on the barrel and the insert, so it won't come apart now. If it does, it's only going a couple of inches, so it won't fly out.
So you're not going to lose it. For
Yeah,
good.
very high.
That duck call's worth a lot of money, bro.
If you look at it right here, if I had it sitting on this table and didn't tell you the story, you'd just be like, well, it's just an old blue and black duck call. Nothing really special. There aren't any, you can't tell that Butch made it by hand. You can't tell anything about it, but that thing has won a lot of prizes. I've got the two Worlds are both combined $18,000. Each one of them comes with a War Eagle boat. The Bass Pro came with a Bad Boy buggy and $10,000. And so I mean that's a lot.
Yeah.
that's
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there. What Butch done for you, you passed it on down.
Yeah.
You've been helping a young man, and he did fairly well.
Yeah, Jacob Aiken.
Yep.
His dad. I met his dad and him right after I won the first one, and they approached me about 10 months ago and said, "Hey, Jacob's ready to start. He's kind of dying off on this baseball thing, and he wants to start competition calling." So when I got him, he sounded like the duck dudes do on the duck call from time to time, but I've got him tuned up now, and he was entered the Junior Worlds. He did really well. He made it past the first round, and then he squawked, which is not a good thing, but he stood up there. He did exactly what I told him. If you make a mistake, keep going, finish your routine. He finished strong. I was super proud, very proud of the young man.
He's a really good young man. I've got the privilege to hunt with him several times. Me and Scott hunt together, and he's a really good guy.
Yeah, you could tell the first time I met him, going over there and hunting with him. He's a young man that's got a future in whatever he does. But hey, Logan, stick with us, hang in there. We're coming up on our first break. We'll be right back with Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy, with our special guest, two-time world champion, Logan Hancock. Y'all hang around. Welcome back to Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy, right here on Fox Sports Radio 92.7 and the Freed AM Sports affiliates.
Can't forget
Roy
that.
always tells me they're not all sports affiliates.
They're not.
But,
one is a country and western station.
Okay, country and western, not just country.
Country and western.
And western. I never could figure out what the difference was. How far west did they go?
Well, see,
Because it's in Nashville.
That's when they
I mean,
play this new country pop stuff, and then they play Hank Sr. and Waylon Jennings and stuff.
But they weren't from Texas. That wasn't really west. That was on the other side of
But
Mississippi.
Roy Rogers, if you listen to Roy Rogers
Yeah,
and Gene Autry, that's western because they did cowboy movies.
No, okay. So you got to do a cowboy movie to be western.
Yep.
Country and western music. I haven't heard it referred to that since the early 80s. And that's when I used to listen to Mo and Joe on an 8-track in my grandmother's car.
Usually you
there's some
say that
Conway
every time I
Twitty.
bring something up, you talk about how you haven't heard that in forever. It's like I'm some kind of walking museum.
Well, you're kind of like, I think you go back to the future a lot. I think you got a DeLorean stash somewhere, and you probably hit 88 miles an hour quite a bit. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. 88 was a good year.
88, yeah, so there we go again. Come back to the future, Roy. Anyway, we're here with Logan Hancock. Logan is the 2015-2017, I'm going to get this out again, 2015-2017 Wings Over the Prairie Festival World's Championship Duck Calling Contest World Champion.
Big deal.
Big deal. He is also the 2016 Big Cypress Open Contest champion. That was held at the Bass Pro Pyramid right there in Memphis, Tennessee. Logan, you were the first contestant. I was going to say you were our first guest on Outdoors with the Duck Dudes after we started this here a couple of years ago, and you know you got set. You had just won the Worlds, and you're coming off of it. Things are really good for you. You go to Memphis 2016. You win Big Cypress. 2016 Worlds. What happened?
2016 Worlds rolls in, and I'm a nervous wreck. You walk around downtown Stuttgart, and you do a news interview here, and people are watching you. You go, what's the deal with that guy? I was on a couple of news stations on the morning news, and you know, just a whole bunch of people were just kind of got in my head. You know, as far as I'm a nervous wreck, returning champion, everybody's watching me. So when I stepped on stage, I felt like the whole crowd went silent, and they said, "Hey, that's that guy," and. You know, I didn't handle it well, and I got nervous, and when I got nervous, I made a mistake, and I got cut the second round. It happens. You either go big or you go home, and I went home.
I've got the opportunity to speak at 4 churches at Wild Game Suppers. The first 3, I didn't know anybody there. This year, I got to speak at my church. It was terrible. I was my Sunday school teachers there who I had in school, and all these teachers I had and people I worked with, and they were all looking at me, and I was like, I can't do this.
I had to go up there and bail him out.
He did.
Oh, man.
I wanted to just run away.
I understand.
And hey, it happens. I mean, you know, you get nervous, you put all this pressure on yourself, whether you're duck calling, whether you're doing whatever. But I'm gonna have to say that you followed it up this year pretty big.
I did. I entered into the Big Cypress in 2017, which is held in October. It's a great contest to kind of get your bearings about you before Worlds, get your mind right, and ended up getting sick right before it. I was sounding good. I got some kind of respiratory infection, and you know, I didn't do bad, but I didn't do great. I ended up about 6th place, which was still good for some awesome prizes. Big time. I got to see what other people were doing right before Worlds, and got to know, you know, what I needed to work on. And so got with Jim Ronquist there, R&T, a few weeks out from Worlds, and I'd been helping Jacob with his calling, so I had plenty of lungs built up. You got to get your lips where they'll hold air as well. So I had all that going down from helping Jacob, and I just needed a couple little tweaks in my routine, and Jimbo helped me out with that and he got me tuned up pretty good. I mean, it was pretty salty, and but I couldn't get it right. I knew what I could do was good, but I couldn't get it right. I was telling my wife, I was like, look, I'm messing this up. I'm gonna try it, but I'm messing it up. And that was Thursday. That was Thanksgiving Day, and she kind of told me, hey, if you're not gonna do well, we're not even going. You gotta tighten up. She didn't cut me much.
Crying, huh?
She didn't cut me much slack. So ended up going deer hunting Friday since there's no water, and I was practicing in the truck on the way the deer was, and I finally got that little spot just right, and I kept nailing it. And I texted her. I said, got it, ready to go. And she texted me back, told you need to get your mind right.
Yeah. Nothing like a deer hunt.
Yeah.
Going on a deer hunt to get your mind right.
That's right.
So you get up there, you get ready, and how many people are in this thing now? And I know we talked about it before, but let's set the stage. Okay. How many people are you competing against, and how does this thing start?
So there's a whole bunch of regionals and state contests that are held all over the country and even up into Canada that you have to win one of those to be even eligible to compete in the Worlds. And so I won a regional that was held in Union City, Tennessee at a little store called Final Flight there. They hold real good contests, and I've actually qualified there several times. And so I qualified there. There was about 58 contestants, or 59 this year. It's down a little bit from last year, but there's normally somewhere between 60 and 70 people that have won a state or a regional. And sometimes some people get sick and can't make it last minute and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, it's 58 people. We get called to the back, and then they make sure everybody's there, and you run out front and tell them everybody your name and where you're from and what contest you won. And I did that. And I've always got this great cheering section there, and they all cheered real big for me. Makes you feel real good inside. And then you go in the back and you start drawing numbers, and the numbers are what order you go in, because it's blind judging. They don't know your name, they don't know where you're from,
Yeah,
they don't know
who you
nothing.
are.
They know you by a number. So I was number 55 out of 58.
That's a long way to.
That's a long wait. Yeah,
How long did it take to get from number 1 to 55?
Well, I don't know really, because they make you turn your phone in, and I don't wear a watch. So I would guess somewhere around an hour and a half. Well, you figure every guy's got 2 minutes.
Okay.
So 110 minutes, something like that. And whatever that converts to in hours, 2.5, 2 3/4 hours, 2 on the button. There you go.
Yeah, you're close.
So anyway, that's how long it took. So you're back there visiting with guys that duck hunt here, duck hunt there. Some of them duck hunt, right around you. Some of them are from Nebraska. It's completely different. So there's all kinds of different stories going around, trading stories and lies and so on. And just like being at the duck camp or deer camp.
Mm-hmm.
And but then you got this nervous wreck moment coming up where you got to be up on stage. And I had the guy in front of me didn't do real well. He made a couple mistakes, and that kind of makes you think about, am I gonna make that mistake? But I got that out of my head and went up there and did what I know to do. And second round rolls around, and I draw number 3 out of 30 something. Come back for the second round. They cut some people out that have lower scores, and so I was 3 out of 30, which is really early in the round. There wasn't but a few callers separated my first round and my second round. So get through second round, they call me back for third, and I draw number 1, and which is the worst number to be. But I've done well with number 1 in the third round. The Big Cypress 2016, I was number 1 in the third round of that. And I just went up there with the mentality, you got to set the bar high and make everybody else get over you.
Right.
And so if the judges hear that first guy come out there and just drop the mic at the end of it, nobody else does, they can't give you anybody else a better score than what you got. So went out there with that mentality, and from what the crowd said, that's what happened. I completely obliterated the whole rest of the third round, after they went, and the rest is history.
As they say.
Yeah.
I keep saying it's been a crazy ride, and I can think back, and I know you can think back even further than I can, and what it takes to get here. And we're coming up on a break, but we're going to talk about next segment, what it takes to get here. You're not calling the same way in that contest that you're out calling in the woods when you're hunting, or calling in the field, or whatever. It's a little bit different. A little bit different things happen. So stay with us. We're coming up on a break. We got to pay some bills. Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy on Fox Sports Radio 92.7.
Welcome back to Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy, right here, right now on Fox Sports Radio 92.7. Well, Rosco, we're at it again.
Here we are, man. Third segment. We're here with the, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it every time we come in. 2015-2017 Wings Over the Prairie Festival, World's Championship Duck Calling Contest World Champion, and the 2016 Big Cypress Open Contest Champion from the Memphis Bass Pro Shop, Mr. Logan Hancock. Logan, we were talking before the break and in the last segment about what it takes to get there, and kind of the road you went down to get here. You don't start warming up the night before. I mean, this is something you talked about, going and qualifying, and I guess since you're a world champion, you don't get a free pass into the next one.
You do, actually.
Okay.
You get the next year, you got to come back and defend.
Okay.
But after that, you're done.
Yeah. Okay. So you still got to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't consecutive, you
Yeah.
got to qualify. So you really never stop calling all year round. I mean, do you have an off day, or do you have an off 2 or 3 months? I mean,
You take a vacation.
what do you do to get ready?
Generally, duck season is kind of off from contest season because you got November is the Worlds, and so then you got all the duck season, in January, and then there's some contests start picking up in February, but a lot of them are in the fall, kind of getting people excited about duck calling. But there's definitely some in March. Every month you can go somewhere in the country and enter a duck calling contest.
So you were talking earlier about getting your lungs right, getting your lips right. I mean, where they'll hold air. I mean, this is something that you really, it's an art, but there's some athletic ability. I mean, really, you're standing still, but you got to get your lungs right. You got to be able to hold air, and obviously, we make fun of me all the time on here and says I can't call a duck on the telephone. I can't hold my air.
Yeah.
I hadn't been able to learn to do that.
I've gave him a whole bunch of balloons.
Yeah.
He's got to blow these balloons up this year to get in shape.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way of doing it.
And I'll pass out after the first one, and only gets about as big around as a tomato. So, and I'm not a smoker, so we don't know what the.
Well, I'm asthmatic, so I mean, whatever excuse
No
you got,
excuses.
whatever excuse you
No
got,
excuses.
there's none there.
Talk a little bit about the differences. We were talking about during the break. You're calling contest calling. You're calling. I mean, because you're a duck hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't obviously call the same way out there hunting ducks as you do in the contest. You were kind of going down the road of comparing it to the NASCAR of duck calling, and fill us in a little bit on what you're doing up there, what you're thinking, and how long you got. What's the routine like?
So you've got 90 seconds to show those judges exactly what you're capable of doing with a duck call. And, any longer and they lose their attention. So you got 90 seconds to simulate this flight of ducks that's way far away,
Mm-hmm.
and you bring them in,
Mm-hmm.
and you get them close, and you maybe get them a circle a time or two, and then somebody pie faces them, and they start leaving, and you got to bring them back with the comeback call, and then they come back and they circle, and then they land. Well, we all know that when you're hunting in the wild, 90 seconds, the duck hadn't even made it around the hole really good in 90 seconds. So that really isn't applicable. But in contest calling, what fun is it, showing one circle of the duck? It's not. So it's real fast paced. It's really loud. You're trying to show that judge that you can control that call from the very top note that it'll make to the very bottom.
It's duck calling on steroids.
It's duck calling on steroids, and trying to say that a contest caller couldn't call in a duck is like trying to tell Dale Earnhardt Jr. that he can't go to the grocery store and get eggs and milk. I mean, it's just not true. It's different, but he's driving 150 miles an hour, and I'm calling at 150 miles an hour.
Making all left turns.
But
Yeah.
he can still get in the car and drive to the grocery store. You can still go out into the timber or go out into the field and bring the ducks and put them on the plate.
It's
Lay 'em in the
easier to lay them in the shade.
Lay them in the shade, brother.
It's easier to slow down. You know, you don't have to use all that air. You know, you're bundled up for cold weather, and you know it's really slow paced.
And a lot of times you don't have to use a lot of air. You'll blow them out of the sky.
You will. And you got other people that sound different. You know, that are maybe up there just doing a little feed, and so you got help. When you're a contest guy, you're up there by yourself, and so you got to do it all.
And one-man show.
One man show, and you got 90 seconds, so you just got to show out from there.
And you have twice.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. So you just can't do what you do in hunting on stage. It just there's nobody would watch it, nobody would listen to it, nobody would get excited, and that's what I like about it, is the adrenaline rush of being on the stage. There's 500 people out there at Worlds watching you, and
It's like a big party if anybody hadn't ever been.
yeah, there was somebody hooping and hollering right before I started my third round. I think he had just learned about the Alabama and Auburn score, and he let out a big old whoop whoop, and it kind of got in my head, but I overcame and did all right. But when it's just you and another guy up there, and you're the last two guys out of the 11 that they've kept around, it's bad. I mean, you're about falling over. Like, you can watch my leg just shaking up there. But then when they call your name and not the other guy, it's the greatest feeling there ever was.
I can help you out on this getting nervous,
Yeah,
and I'm going to get you a pair of Roy the Doug Good sunglasses.
I would appreciate it.
When I wear those, I'm invisible.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
And it helps the rest of us, you know, because of the beard, and he puts the glasses on, and then we really can't see his face.
Yeah.
Can't see his
So
face.
I mean, there's no nightmares at night when he does that.
Yeah.
There's reasons.
Does it come with a muzzle?
We're working on that.
Oh, okay.
You know, it kind of gets tangled up in the beard
Yeah.
a little bit, but and you got a nice.
Yeah, I've been working on it.
You know,
yeah.
I'm thinking back. We're going to get off subject here a little bit, but this just occurred to me. There was a point in time where we were in college, and we decided that I was going to have an Amish beard. Do you recall that?
I do.
Yeah, that was the worst mistake I think that either one of us ever made.
Yeah.
You talking me into it, and you doing it, you know, I mean, it was terrible.
Well,
But,
at the time, you were a few years older than I was, and you could grow a full beard, and I couldn't grow a mustache. I mean, mine was Amish by nature, and you just wanted to help me out. And
yeah,
let
I
me
was
fit
trying.
in there in college.
It looked bad. It really did look bad. But hey, we got through it. It was fun, and I don't know if it's probably a good thing we don't have pictures.
Yeah, that was back before camera phones and everything else. So.
They were just starting to break in then, and
All
not
the
everybody
cool kids had them.
Yeah, we still had the old flip phone razors that actually
right.
we talk quite often about those working a lot better than these
I wish I had
things
my
we have
razor
now.
back. I told him the other day.
I want a bag phone, to be honest with you, or a CB radio. I think those work better than anything. But hey, talking about the calling style is different. You talked a little bit earlier in the show about your call. It's different. I mean, it looks the same. If you set it down here to the naked eye, it looks the same. That's a special call to you, and give us a little more of the history on that call.
It is. Sometime right before, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was before the 2014 Worlds. I was practicing there at my house, and I've got tile floors, and I got off work, came home, my call was sitting on my countertop, I picked it up, I hit a hail call, and my insert flew out across the room, and that's the part that holds the reed, and that's the magic. The barrel's just a tube. You could use PVC pipe if you wanted to. But the insert fell out and hit that tile floor and hit about 3 pieces. And so I called up Butch Richenback, and I said, Butch, I'm in a bad spot. You know, I just broke my duck call. And he said, well, come up to Stuttgart tomorrow and we'll make you another one. I said, all right, I'll hit up that way after I get off work. So I drove up there and met Butch at the shop, and we sat there till, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock that night trying to make a duck call that fit me. And by the end of it, he had a duck call that I took the read from my previous call and put it in it, and it sounded exactly the same. And I was able to put it in there for that World's contest in 14. And I can't remember if that was the year I placed 5th or 7th, but I mean, normally it takes you a while to get acclimated to a new contest call because the air pressures are a little different. But that man made me a call that just felt the same.
He could hear it. I mean,
Yeah.
he could tell it. And he could
Absolutely.
Hear it.
He knew what you needed.
He'd stand here and do this there, and I'd say, well, this is happening, and he would say, oh, I need to drill this, and I'll do. Anyway, it was a thing of beauty. I wish I had a camera setting up, videoing it all, because all I got is my memory, and I can't remember nothing. So
You're doing a pretty good job of remembering at the end. And I tell you what, this show is running. It's flying by. We've got a 4th segment coming up. Logan, if you'll hang in there with us, we'll be right back. Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy on Fox Sports Radio 92.7. Welcome back to Outdoors with the Duck Dudes, Rosco and Roy on Fox Sports Radio 92.7 and the Freed AM Country and Western affiliates.
yeehaw!
What do you think about that, Roy?
I like that.
So we're here with the 2015-2017, here we go again, Wings Over the Prairie Festival World Championship Duck Calling Contest World Champion. Yeah, that's right, 2 times, one of 15
In odd years.
in the world that's done this. Also 2016, he was the Big Cypress Open Contest champion at the Bass Pro Shop in Memphis, which is one of those bucket list things that, you know, I was at Bass Pro this past weekend in Shreveport.
I'm going to Bass Pro in Little Rock this weekend.
Yeah.
But it's those two together, stacked up, still
Yeah,
will
I mean,
not.
I've seen the pictures,
No.
and I really want to get there and do that, but I think Logan owns a part of it now.
An ancient aliens
I
built
mean, he knows, he has, because we're in the break, and he said, yeah, I called my guy at Bass Pro. You know, he's got a guy.
He's got a
guy.
He's got a
You
guy.
know, so everybody's got a guy. Logan's got a guy at Bass Pro, so.
We need to get
you
Duck
know,
Dudes gear in there.
yeah,
There you go.
if there's, you know, if they want, if your guy wants another, you know, couple of folks, you know, Duck Dudes.
I'll throw
know.
your name around.
Yeah.
We can even help them with a commercial.
Absolutely. That would be big fun in that big store.
I want to
Yeah.
sell Long Johns.
Long Johns.
The red ones,
Yeah.
they have camouflage ones and
With
they
a
have
flap.
red.
With the
Yes.
flap.
Yes.
Flap.
Matter of fact, they're like
We can even
$29.
have DDI on the flat.
That would be
I
awesome.
can see it.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah.
So we're talking with Logan. Logan, we had a great show talking about just, you know, what it took to get ready for the contest, kind of the highs and the lows. But let's talk about why contest calling, what got you into it, what, you know, what's your background here? Why contest calling?
So I moved to Stuttgart in the 5th grade. My dad got a job there, and we moved to Stuttgart. And I'd never duck hunted before. And the company I went to work for had a real nice duck club, and so I got to go when there was an opening. And I got to watching those guides, and it was just amazing watching them call and the ducks coming in. And I remember one guy, Mr. James, he had a Haydale's, the clear Haydale's with DR85, but his was yellow because he smoked. And man, that thing was, it was magical. Those ducks would fall right in. So my dad had gotten me a little Ducks Unlimited duck call, and I was waylaying on it, you know, trying to figure it out. And then my grandma bought me a Dixie Mallard call. That's like the Chicken Sophie Major's call, and bought it from the museum there in Stuttgart. And it was way too nice of a call than what I needed then. Luckily, I haven't destroyed it, and it's still in pretty good condition. But then I bought some Walmart specials, you know, $20 calls with a cassette tape, and that's the thing that was before the CD, but
Right.
after the 8-track. And you know, that's how I got my basics going, is on those little cassette tapes, and the Dugga Dugga Dugga, and the Ticka Tickas, and the Hut Hut Hut, and that type thing. And then I became a senior in high school, and I was uptown one night, and a buddy of mine had this MVP, this Rich and Tone MVP, and he worked out at Rich and Tone. And I said, man, what is that? It's in this little bag on his gear shift. And that's my contest call. So I said, let me try it out. And he showed me how to do a highball at Main Street. And I went and bought one like the next week from Max. And I was going to enter the Chicken Sophie Major Memorial Contest, but I chickened out. Didn't enter it. Well, then I went off to college the next year and got my gumption about me and entered the Arkansas State that next November. And man, it was terrible. My tears were in my eyes. I needed some of those sunglasses in a bad way, and it was terrible. I did very poorly, but I was hooked. There's people out there. I had my family there behind me, watching me. Everybody came in for Thanksgiving, and everybody, oh, I'm so proud of you, even though I did poorly. And it just kept going. It became a family tradition where everybody came to our house for Thanksgiving, and great aunts, great uncles, other aunts, friends that were like family. At one point I had like 30 some odd people there to watch me.
Wow.
And I mean, you think about it, downtown there might be 500-600 people down there, so 30 for one guy, that's pretty impressive.
That's a lot of love right there.
That's a whole lot of love, and that love is kind of what kept me going through all the hard losses and so on and so forth over the years. Maybe I didn't do as good as I thought I should have or whatnot. And my grandma gave me some great, it wasn't really advice, it was just encouragement. I was giving her a hug after a contest, and she was giving me a hug, and she whispered in my ear, she said, "You can beat these guys. You can do it. I know you can." And she passed away just a few months later from cancer. That right there is kind of the small fire that kept the big fire going, and the pilot light, if you will. And that crosses my mind as I go to compete every time I step on stage. And you got to fight back that lump in your throat and the tears in your eyes, but that keeps me going. And even though she's not here anymore, I got my dad, my mom, and my aunts, and my wife, and my in-laws, and friends of my wife. I mean, it's unreal who comes to watch you compete for a minute and a half and then watches 70 other people.
Right.
It's ridiculous what they're doing for me. So that support is probably what keeps me going year after year after year. And the prizes are cool, the title's cool, but having them being proud of me is probably what makes me tick the most. So that's kind of
that's what makes you you, and a lot of people don't understand that about life, but those things they can't be took away from you.
That's right. You kind of covered my next question, and you covered how you got started, and I was going to say why. Why duck calling? People have hobbies. People compete. Some people, they run marathons. Obviously, I don't do that. Some people duck call. Some people
Eat donuts,
dance. I mean, they shoot ski.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that people do. You're taking it to the next level, and so to that, to be a two-time world champion, to be, how many contests period have you won, over the years? And I kind of am sitting here thinking, and I'm comparing it to, I guess, golf, where you have your golf matches, your tournaments, but then you have the majors, and you're out here winning majors. You're winning the small ones to compete and things like that to get entered, but you're winning the majors.
It's a Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, and so there's got to be something else besides the prizes and the notoriety that comes with it. And I think you covered that. It's your family, and having family support, and man, that's just something that we talk about.
And your core values.
Yeah, we talk about it here on the show. Getting your family involved outdoors, whether it's going duck hunting, deer
Going
hunting, fishing, riding your bike, man.
Looking at crystals, man. My kids, we go to the lake in the summer and they just want to pick up sparkle rocks, is what they call them. When they
camping. Get the kids outdoors. You mentioned a while ago, you don't even have cable anymore.
Yeah.
And man, if there was so many people that would kind of, unplug for a little while, and I know with me,
I don't
man,
think the TV is as bad as the phones.
The phones,
man.
yeah. They talk. Matter of fact, I saw in the news this past week they were talking about people being addicted to phones. and they can actually tell some differences in the brain, you know.
The guy that invented the iPhone has admitted that he knew that it would be addictive.
Well, and you know, it is. I mean, the world's at your fingertips.
But you know, outdoors was addictive to me. That's all
and
I wanted to do
That's
growing
what
up.
you, and that's what you're doing. You're taking this to the next level. You're getting your kid. You're not your kids, other kids involved. You're getting your family, and you're passing that along, man.
Yeah.
And we can't thank you enough from an outdoor standpoint. You know that. I know I have seen people in turkey calling contests, kids dressed that you would think, and they may have never turkey hunted in their life. You know what I'm saying? Never been in the woods, but they get out and they do that competition. They're pretty good turkey callers, you know, competition callers. So it's a blessing, you know, to get out there and be able to do this and
then
pass it on to other
be a
people.
positive
Role
influence
model
on
to
people,
other
role
people.
model.
I really like the positive role model part of it because I don't have any kids, but I know how important it was for me, for my dad to carry me hunting and fishing and all that growing up, and him sacrificing his time. And you know, I was not quiet on the deer stand, but you know, we had a good time. We had, you know, brownies and RC colas, and man, it was good stuff.
You know,
a lot of kids don't have that.
Right. Who did you look up to when you started contest calling? You know, I kind of went into it blind. I didn't really know a whole lot of people, but you quickly learn who to look up to as far as who's a good caller and who's a good person. And you try to take away the good caller part of the people, even though they're not great people. But then you really focus on who's the great person, and you really try to emulate them and how they carry themselves. And that's what I'm trying to do right now because I am kind of in the spotlight. You're that person. Man.
Yeah.
You're that person.
And
to Jacob, you know, you're that person.
Yeah.
You know,
He sent me pictures. Him and Scott would send me pictures. Look who were we? I'm talking about, man. You'd have thought they were with
Logan Hancock.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've run up on a great show. Logan, we appreciate you coming down. You drove in, sitting here in studio with us, and we appreciate that.
We sure do.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to have you back. We're going to do another show. You know, we want you to be on here. We want you to be a guest commentator. I think we're going to work on that some, doing some call-in stuff on shows every once in a while. But until then, y'all hunt hard, hunt safe, lay 'em in the shade.